चलिए सीधे रुक करते हैं दिल्ली के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल क्लब का, जहां पर इस वक्त संबोधित कर रहे हैं कार्यक्रम को सीईसी सुनील अरोड़ा।
Honorable Justice Patnaik sir, I think the loss of Parliament was the gain of judiciary. Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, our personal association goes back to 86-7 when we worked together, and in some way or the other we have been working together ever since. In fact, before I became election commissioner, he was my minister when I was DG of Manesar Institute of Corporate Affairs. He was the MOS of Corporate Affairs. So it's all decided somewhere else. Apa Sahab, Srinivasan ji, actually this place where we are sitting is itself a hallowed place, founded in 47 February, with the objective of fostering social contacts amongst the luminaries of the Constituent Assembly of India. I would like to express our gratitude to Mr. Srinivasan that since he has wanted to move to Delhi, so maybe this place will become the venue of the function year after year, year after year. When Shri Srinivasan and his team, we met together 2 days back about some detailing of these awards, he mentioned about the revered Dr. APJ Kalam, which he in any case in his opening remarks has dilated at length. Actually, but still I would like to recall here a very pithy observation of Dr. Kalam in one of his many books titled A Manifesto for Change, published in 2014. Quote, "Every member of parliament should think that the nation is bigger than the individual, and the parliament should pass a resolution to work on a vision for the nation. What will inspire 640 million youth of this country? It is the visionary policies enacted by the parliament to make this nation great and transform its society into a knowledge society." Dr. Srinivasan, when he started this, I was just wondering, it almost personifies, I am reminded of an old 2 sentences, "मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया." There is a lot of discussion about criminalization of politics, and rightly so, as a part of the general discourse of the country. But very few people realize the quantum and quality of work that most political people do, which remains under the radar and is not exposed to either the civil society or even the media. Having been the head of a PSU, the then Indian Airlines, for 5 years from 2000 to 2005, I have appeared before several committees in those 5 years. Public Accounts Committee, Undertaking Committee, our own Standing Committee, Committee on Petitions, so on and so forth. And the amount of work these committees transact, it's kind of a lesson for anybody who wants to keep growing in life and keep learning. Mr. Srinivasan also said that they have a very rigorous process of selection. We have 2 Maharatnas and Mahasansad Ratnas and jury sitting here. And he also he said that we get a lot of data from Lok Sabha Secretariat and the Institute of Policy Research, known as PRS. Without much ado, I would like to start from quoting from Dr. Ambedkar about the nature of our constitution. Quote, however good a constitution may be, if those who are implementing it are not good, it will prove to be bad. However bad a constitution may be, if those who are implementing it are good, it will prove to be good. Eminent jurist of Nani Palkiwala, who really needs no introduction, who never needed introduction then, not even now, he observed in one of his famous cases, the survival of our democracy, I think it was Keshwanand Bharati case, quote, the survival of our democracy and the unity and the integrity of the nation depends upon the realization that constitutional morality is no less essential than constitutional legality. Dharma, it's a part of the code, righteousness, sense of public duty, all virtue, lives in the heart of the public man. When it dies there, no constitution, no law, no amendment can save it. So we all have to strive hard to save the constitution, to see it. I think if we take the framing of constitution, I mean, you all know much better than all of us here, most of us here, at least. We had such visionary founding fathers that very few countries would have such visionary founding fathers. The only example I can think is of USA, because when the draft of the Constitution was brought to Benjamin Franklin, he struck only one word. He said it was written, given by God. He cut off the word God. There was no irreverence. He was a very devout Christian. He wrote, by all, by us, to make a clear distinction between the kind of the secular and the non-secular part of the Constitution, to maintain that distinction. And here also, as Justice Patnaik just now said, we the people of India. In fact, this preamble of our Constitution by itself kind of is the most profound statement any constitution in the world can ever have. We talk of Magna Carta, yes, again a very profound preamble. We know France, USA, but even the preamble of our Constitution, such a young and fledgling democracy, got freedom after 1757 practically, barring the revolt of 1857, and so much kind of imagination, so much vision, and so much to say for generations to come. I'd like to say that also present before you what Dr. Rajendra Prasad in his parliamentary address to the first elected parliament of our country on May 16, 1952 said, quote, we have now given full effect to the provisions of the Constitution relating to the composition of the legislatures and leadership of the state, and thus completed one stage of our journey. Even as we complete that stage, we start another. There is no resting place for a nation or a people on their onward march. You, members of parliament, newly elected by over 170 million of our people at that time, are the pilgrims who have to march forward in their company. On you rests a unique privilege and a heavy responsibility. And imagine where our parliament, honorable parliamentarians sit. It had speakers like Dr. Mavlankar, Dr. Vittalbai. In those days, there was a tradition that when the viceroy used to come to address the then house, everybody, including the speaker, would stand. Vittalbai Vittal Bhaiji, he resisted this. He told the Viceroy that you will first come to my room and we will together go to the house. And thus stopped the picture of this standing Indians under the British rule, etc., etc. At that point of time, they had that much courage and that much kind of will to say, to put forward their point of view. Once the Commander-in-Chief of the then British Army, who was a kind of nominated member, he made a long speech in the House, but was not present when his speech was being discussed. Vittal Bhaiji insisted that this shall not be discussed and he will not be allowed in future to make any speech in the House. Rest is history. Commander-in-Chief had to tender an apology at the floor of the House. I am grateful, and in fact the entire Commission should be grateful to the judiciary for laying down the precepts which govern the Commission and for empowering the Commission from time to time. I am aware of the case which you gave a seminal judgment, sir. Similar seminal judgments in Mohinder Singh Gill, in Sadiq Ali case, they have become the kind of lighthouses by which any EC is running, would be running in the future. In fact, in this Mohinder Singh Gill case versus Chief Election Commissioner, the Honorable Court observed democracy is a government by the people. It's a continual participative operation, not a cataclysmic periodic exercise. The little man in his multitude, parking his vote at the poll date, does a social audit of parliamentarians and political choice of his or her volition. Although the full power of participative government rarely blossoms, the minimum credentials of a popular government is appeal to the people after every term for a renewal of confidence. So we have adult franchise and general elections as a constitutional compulsion. It needs very little argument to hold that the heart of parliamentary system is free and fair elections, periodically held, based on adult franchise, although social and economic democracy may demand much more. When Mr. Srinivasan met me, he also asked me to speak something about Election Commission. I asked him, is it important? He says, no, we insist, and he has a way of insisting, I must say. Sir, as you all know, this country is one of the very few. Sir? Right, sir? No, have a moment to speak about. I'll finish in 5 minutes. Our republic was declared on 26 January 1950. The announcement about the Constitution of Election Commission was made on 25th January 1950, which is one day before the formal declaration of republic. That again shows the kind of vision of the founding fathers. By the way, the first elections conducted by the legendary Shri Sukumar Sen, the first CEC, in whose name we have now instituted an award, it took almost 8 to 10 months. We still have in the archives of the Commission the old black and white photographs of the people trudging on the camel back with the huge ballot boxes, etc., etc. We have already decided to start a museum of democracy in the IIDM, which is our international institute in Dwarka, and very soon, maybe in a year or so, you will see the entire collection there. At that time, since it was the first lecture, we approached Shri Pranab Mukherjee to give us an address. He said the role of the commission, he gave a 40-page address, one of the extractions, the role of the commission in the practical play of democracy in India has been simply outstanding. It's a long quotation. I've already been getting kind of looks from Kavita ji, so I'll eschew going through it. I'll request my colleague Mona and Shefali to kindly make available the text outside if anybody is interested. I'll just wind up with 2-3 things. Sorry? No, it's okay. COVID-19 recently, will not go through the in-between history, but COVID-19 recently presented us a very, very challenging kind of a situation. And in fact, in those days, most of the fledgling democracies, including some of the very vital democracies, they had stopped deferred their elections. But we decided to go ahead with it. It was a leap of faith and not a leap in the dark. But this leap of faith was not just based only on faith. Our officers, some of them sitting here, at least one of them, I would like him to stand up, Chandrabhushan. He was the in charge of Bihar, and I know how much work and energy he and Srinivasan, our CEO in Bihar, kind of they put in organization of that election. I also know that we went for the review there. I was pleasantly surprised to meet 2 district magistrates who had COVID and who had got up, and they, after the 5-6 days, instead of 14 days, they started performing their job again. In fact, one of them was Collector Patna, which probably has more than 16 constituencies. Similarly, one young collector from Kaimur district is a medical doctor. He became almost ambassador of other officers, and shining example that we all should try our best during the elections. A lady commissioner she was holding charge of 2 commissionerates. A police IG on duty, unfortunately he passed away due to COVID and other comorbidities. My colleagues, they had all of them sitting here, Mona Srinivas, my own office, Deepak, Shefali ji, our media in charge, and many others who are in the office today. I'll also go there after this. They kind of prepared a set of guidelines which were circulated somewhere in August 2020. But we made a clear exception there in the last paragraph that you can make a bit of titration, keeping in view your local circumstances and milieu. And those guidelines became a broad paradigm of Bihar election, and till this COVID persists, they will remain a paradigm. I hope it gets over early, but anyway, till it persists. We also enhanced the expenditure limit by 10% due to this. We also made some very detailed social distancing norms. The first being that a polling booth should have 1,000 voters instead of 1,500, so that in Bihar you will be surprised, the scale of election was that you had more than 33,000 new polling booths, which meant that you had to have that much extra manpower, police for security purpose, and general manpower for manning the polling booths. Similarly, in the current elections, now again we have 24,000 more booths in West Bengal, so on and so forth, because that has become a template till COVID persists. I was told to say something on reforms. One of the biggest reforms we have already undertaken is that for 80 years plus and disabled, we have made the facility of optional postal ballot. This was initially tried in Delhi, then in Bihar, is now a template. It is now actually a law. We sent the proposal to the Ministry of Law, who approved it. And only 2 days back, I am glad to report to you that this was challenged by one of the political parties in Madras High Court. Madras High Court came very heavily on that and said that what the Commission has done for 80 years plus and people with disabilities is not something with which the court would like to tamper with. Their judgment by itself was very encouraging to us because in any case, as I said earlier, it is a optional thing. It's not compulsory. In fact, I wish I could have brought a book prepared by one of my colleagues, CEO Delhi, here just to display that how many people in Delhi elections, above 100 voted. This is a full illustrative book because just because somebody is above 80 doesn't mean that he or she, may God give them long life, above 100, there were more than 200 people in Delhi alone who voted and we have prepared an illustrated album of the same. I would request my colleague Shefali to make it available to all the honorable members of the parliament, Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Then another thing we are very closely looking at is linkage of Aadhaar with our own EPIC card so that we don't have to have multiplicity of cards. We have only one card. If we have Aadhaar card, it also covers the Aadhaar EPIC card or vice versa. We have already sent the proposal to the ministry. Only day before yesterday, I think, Honorable Minister of Law and Justice gave a statement on the floor of the House that we are actively considering it. Another long-term thing we are looking at is NRI voting. We have sent a proposal for the Indian diaspora. In fact, the then Honorable Prime Minister made an announcement about it on the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in 2011. But somehow it didn't see the light of the day. Now we are trying that it should see the light of the day. And External Affairs Ministry has suggested that we should have one seminar with some stakeholders, which after the elections of these 5 states, 4 states and 1 UT, we shall be having. So that after we get all the views distilled, we are hopeful that this should see the light of the day maybe in the next 6 months or 1 year. The Commission is a continuous organization. I have had the privilege of being associated so far with the 11 state assembly elections as EC, 14 state and UT elections as CEC, and 1 Lok Sabha elections. So to that extent, I am personally very grateful to God and to, in a manner of speaking, all of you who kind of get elected and come. You see that people of the nation, long term what we are thinking is this remote voting. On that, some scientists, what you call blockchain voting, maybe this will see the light of the day by 2024 parliament elections. A team of technocrats and experts from IIT Chennai, some other IITs is already working on that full swing, and we hope to see the first pilot maybe in the next 2-3 months, because this is a kind of long-term vision. Individuals come and go, institutions are forever, and that is how we are working towards that. And of course, we are going to have a museum of democracy. That's not part of reforms, but that is something I thought. We all thought in the commission, when I say I means all the 3 commissioners, we thought that maybe we should have. I keep on hearing many times one word which I would like to say, and then we keep on hearing in many media circles, page 3 circles, page 4 circles, common man. Common man. I don't know, in the bureaucracy also it has become a popular word, common man. We are doing something for common man, common. Honorable guests, this common man is very uncommon. So uncommon, you can't imagine. He or she is capable of giving the biggest, most pleasant surprises and the most nasty shocks. when they get an opportunity every 5 years, or sometimes there is a dissolution of the State Assembly or Parliament before that, at that time. And this common man has a question for all of us, each one of us, whether it is legislators, whether it is election commission officials, whether it is the executive, whether it is the political leadership, whether for that matter it is judiciary or media, etc., etc. And that is, तू इधर उधर की बात न कर, ये बता के काफिला क्यों लुटा, मुझे रहजनों से गिला नहीं, तेरी रहबरी का सवाल है। जय हिंद।